Congressman Adam Schiff led today's hearing on the attack on the Capitol. He's joining us now live from Washington, D.C. Congressman Schiff, thank you very much for joining us. We heard some emotional testimony today about that pressure campaign targeting state election officials to try to get them to reject the results of the 2020 election. Why is that an important part of this investigation? And do you think, based on what you've seen as a former federal prosecutor, that is there criminality here?
Well, I think it was important to show the country that Donald Trump put enormous pressure on these state and local elections workers, knowing that what he was telling the country was a big lie. And he didn't care. And these courageous public officials, many of them Republican, told him they would not violate their oath of office. But the country got to see how, nonetheless, he brought the full weight of that office down on people, including local elections workers, and really destroyed their lives. And I think it's important for the country to understand this was all deliberate. This was knowing. The president was told by his own attorney general that what he was saying was, well, I won't use the expletive that Bill Barr used, but utter nonsense. And country got to see, I think, the human toll of what Donald Trump did.
Deliberate, knowing, was it criminal?
Well, there's certainly sufficient evidence, I think, for the Department of Justice to investigate. Federal Judge David Carter of California has written in a couple opinions that he believes Donald Trump and those around him engaged in likely multiple criminal acts. Whether the Department of Justice will ultimately conclude that they can prove it beyond a reasonable doubt will be their decision, but there's certainly sufficient evidence to investigate. And I think our hearing and others have demonstrated that amply.
When we look at the effect, the personal impact on Shay Moss, for example, and her mother, on how they don't want to even have their names uttered in public out of fear that somebody might say or do something against them. And the fact that all of these, a lot of the election workers who were there in Fulton County have left since the 2020 election. What effect do you think this kind of targeting of elected officials is going to have on future elections, on the next election?
Well, it's a great question, because the danger didn't end on January 6th. The big lie that propelled the violence that day, the lie that whenever you lose, that somehow the election is rigged or plagued with fraud, that lie goes on. And that lie is being used around the country to intimidate other elections officials, to force them out of town with death threats. And so we need to be aware of this, and we need to combat it. One of our hopes in the hearing is that by putting out good information, by showing the country essentially how Donald Trump deliberately lied to them and put people's lives in danger, then hopefully people will recognize others that are doing the same thing. That's the only way I think we can protect ourselves going forward, is to expose the truth and call on people to live up to their oath of office as these witnesses did.
What should we expect in the next hearing?
The next hearing will be about the president's effort, Donald Trump's effort, to really decapitate the leadership of the Justice Department, to sack anyone who disagreed with him and install someone named Jeffrey Clark, who would simply do his bidding in this scheme to get the vice president to elect or to recognize these phony electors. And you'll hear how en masse many in the Justice Department threatened to resign if the president went forward with this scheme.
All right, Congressman Adam Schiff of Southern California, thank you very much for joining us. We know you were busy, and we hope to talk to you again. We will